So we really need to talk some Last Epoch. There's been a lot happen in the last week. So they finally came out and gave us like a midweek update. And I think that this is something that all of you really need to stop and really pay attention to, right? This is the game developers coming out and saying, this is what's going on and this is what we're planning on doing to fix it, right? So if you've been a part of Last Epoch with the game coming out, releasing this last week, then you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? With the not being able to log in or do the online play. So they're coming out and straight up telling us the last week they were floored by the turnout. You got to remember, this is an indie game and they were not expecting to reach 250,000 players online at one time, right? That is a huge amount of people. That is ridiculous. It was the 39th highest concurrent user count recorded on Steam. 39. With a small company like this and trying to have a release, this is big. And then they say here that they appreciate all of us bearing with them, you know, as the load initially gave them trouble with online play, yada, 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 right? Now they're holding mostly at 200,000 players in game, and they've made improvements each day for the infrastructure to support the demand. So pretty much they're telling us, hey, we're a small company, indie-based, started from Reddit, that we have never experienced this kind of player base, and they just weren't ready. Now, granted, I would have loved to have seen them like blow this out of the water, but you know what? It is what it is at this point, right? So they have a lot of incoming hot fixes that they're going to be trying to do, you know, increase some quality of life improvements and, you know, some bug fixes, which I really think is going to help a lot because there are a few bugs that I've noticed in the game. Like the other day I was playing and I noticed that I ran up on like this, I don't even know what it was. It was like a tree stump or something, right? And on my map, it was supposed to be a quest, but instead it was just showing a white box, like things like that, little things. So they're pretty much saying here, thank you for taking the time to report it on the in-game bug reporting tool. And this is going to be the best way that they are going to be able to respond to those things. So they're still trying to figure all of this out. And they're going to continue to make improvements to like the social services, you know, like adding friends, snappier focus on scene to scene transition times, and ensuring in-game chat is stable, making queues to follow the flow smoother and faster, which in my opinion is super important to the overall game, Last Epoch. Like we really thought. But with that being said, like this is showing right now, this is real time. Like I just pulled this up. The all-time peak is 258. Right now, in the 24-hour peak was 203. And 20 minutes ago, it was holding 159,000. So they are showing us progress, that they are staying to their word with being able to keep the, you know, the screen loading times less and being able to actually get into online. So I do feel like they are going in the right direction and keeping everybody informed. Like I really wanted to see Last Epoch blow this out of the water. You know, I wanted the smaller company to show the AAA games that you can have a game with a $35 price tag and you can just blow this thing out of the water, right? Well, sadly, it didn't happen, but I mean, honestly, in my opinion, they still did really well with the amount of funding that they had. And I mean, pretty much no funding. They did a Kickstarter to start this game. It came from a Reddit post. Like, dude, this doesn't happen often. This really doesn't. So like every one of you that are supporting this game right now is trying to make a statement to those AAA games. Like, hey, we don't need your $65 mount. We don't need your $100 freaking update, dude. Like these companies are doing it. Yes, there's some hiccups, but they're doing it. One thing that I am kind of sad to see is that the reviews have gone from mostly positive to mixed now. Like I really think that for Steam and like someone who doesn't really watch YouTube or someone who doesn't really watch streamers and they're just looking at new games and you see Last Epoch here and then you look at the recent reviews and they're now mixed. I really think that this could negatively impact the game for at least this short period of time, because people are going to look at reviews and they're going to like if they've never heard of the game, they're going to look at that and they're going to be like, I don't know, you know, because you have so many other options that say mostly positive or positive reviews. So with this launch, people have switched to mixed reviews and giving, you know, bad reviews. And I really think that a lot of you guys didn't give reviews on like the first day or two, but because of what happened, because of the issues. But it's kind of hard when you get into like day 3, day 4, day 5, and they were still having those issues for there not to be a lot of negative reviews. Yes, I feel like there was a time frame that they had that where people were being really supportive and cool, but unfortunately the masses, they speak, and a lot of people weren't able to play the game right when it first came out, when it was going, you know, going hot and going strong, and a lot of people were looking into it, and a lot of people took off work or took off, you know, days of whatever they were going to do to try to play this game. I know that I tried to play the night that it released and I couldn't do it. Now, granted, they do have an offline mode, which makes it, you know, a lot easier, and which is, in my opinion, very smart, but it's different, you know, like who wants to play offline when you can play online whenever the game released? And I really think that negatively impacted the game. But coming around to it, they're obviously getting it fixed. It is a lot better now. And I think that they need to show everyone who gave a negative review, hey, we're here to stay and we're here to work on this, right? And they're putting in the work right here by letting us know that they're going to be bringing hot fixes to fix all that. They're going to be localizing improvements on translations and further coordinate with native speakers. So they're going to be trying to, you know, broaden their horizons with the game, which I think is really cool. And then you get to the future content section. What really floors me is that they're already talking future content. Now, I personally haven't gotten to the end game yet, but I most likely will very soon. But there's been a lot of people that I know have gotten to the end game, and they're kind of like, what now? You know, there's a lot of, you know, streamers, you know, you got Darth, you got Rax, you know, that are really, you know, putting a lot of content into the game, and they're like, what now? So I'm excited to see that they're excited to share with us the future content plans for patch 1.1. The content coming for patch 1.1 is designed specifically in 2 parts. So at least they're being transparent and letting us know, hey, there are going to be 2 parts to patch 1.1. So for the first one, they're just going to be implementing, you know, certain hot fixes and things like that from the player feedback, which I really think is smart. They want to make sure that the game is set before they try to add more and maybe make it so people are like, hey, this is a good, solid game. So now let's add one thing at a time, which I think is very, very smart in this certain situation. So they're listening to their community throughout the cycle. Secondly, they are going to be bringing in the emphasis of expanding in-game content, which is very huge. They need to be doing that. So for the future passes, they plan to expand the monolith. That is huge. It's kind of like, I believe it's kind of like the mapping system, and bringing great new itemization options, which is really good. They're going to be adding more boss content, which is super huge. Like whenever you play an ARPG, you want to progress your character. Yes, you want to, you know, get the best gear, and you want to farm the zones and reach level 100 or whatever it is. But you really want to showcase it by smacking those bosses. So I'm excited for patch 1.1 because everyone does all the hard work for a reason, and that is to kind of flex at like the Uber bosses or things like that, or like Lilith for Diablo 4. And I think that this is a very, very good thing to do. Add those Uber bosses and bosses in general. They're going to be bringing class and balance updates to the campaign content. They're going to be specifically, they're going to be focused on bringing some pinnacle content, which, like I said, is big. You want to have that pinnacle fights. You want to really be able to dive into that in-game content, because they do kind of shoot you through the campaign pretty quick. So, and they want to give you a challenge, which is very, which is understandable. That's normal. That's normal things. So it's worth emphasizing that 11th Hour Games has a strong focus on listening to the community, as where our team came from. Their team came from a Reddit post. They got funded on their own. They figured it out. Just like if me or you would have tried to have tackled this, they decided to actually do it. So they want to see a bright future and yada, yada, yada. So the sentiment and reviews. So this is pretty much them saying, hey, we know that we messed up. We know that there's a lot of negative reviews on Steam. We're hoping to, gain back the trust, because there's a lot of trust that is surrounding around gaming and, the people that bring us the game. You don't want to support a company that doesn't care about their people. It's kind of like Diablo 4. We bought the game. We said what we wanted from the game. They didn't listen. And instead they brought us $65 mounts that not many people really care about. It's not cool. It's not a good way to do business. It's not a good way to be like, hey, spend more money on my game. Instead, I'm going to give my money to people or a company that actually listens to me. So they're just saying that they're going to take time to read reviews on Steam, and hopefully they can get back your trust. And they believe that Last Epoch is here to stay. And I really do too. I think that this game has a really great possibility of becoming a great game. Then they have some gamepad updates. I mean, if you use a gamepad, then it's there for you. So all in all, I think that 11th Hour Games is doing really good. I really wish that they would have blown it out of the park, but there's hiccups. They couldn't expect how much. They couldn't have expected how many people to be playing the game is what really played the game. Now, they can only keep going as long as us, the people, stand together and show them, hey, we support your game. And right now, I think that is a beautifully made game. You can tell that it's not a AAA game a little bit with the graphics because there's not as much detail and things like that. But I really feel like in time, this game will progress into a very solid second best, obviously underneath Path of Exile. And then with Path of Exile 2 coming out, it's going to be very hard to beat Path of Exile 2. But I do strongly believe that it will be a solid number 2 that we can come back and play year after year. Guys, thank you all for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit like, subscribe, notify, and in the description there is a link to my Twitch. Make sure you go follow along so you can check out whenever we go live playing some Last Epoch. Check out some other videos, and guys, I will see you all tomorrow on our next video. Let's go! Ha! Get it?